Yo, what up? It's your boy coming in with a quick little video because I don't want to leave you guys hanging. I'm working on a lot of sample pack related stuff which I cannot disclose at the moment, so that's why I've been so quiet on YouTube. Still, there's a lot of videos planned. There's a lot of Christmas content coming along. Today we're gonna take a look at this. This is one of my better tracks in my opinion. It's a really interesting and versatile tune. This came out on Good Vibrations. It's called To Me, and it features a pretty dope singer called CERES. I might have butchered that name, but whatever. I'm gonna run through how I made the whole thing. Just, you know, a quick little rundown of the drop, a quick little rundown on the mixing of the intro. And then after all of that jazz, you can download the whole project file and the stems and the individual presets from my Patreon. If you're not a patron, there's a shitload of benefits with the Patreon. If you're a DJ or if you're just a, you know, dubplate collector, there are unreleased tracks on there which you can get. For example, a Marshmallow Hole movement edit I made, a drum and bass version of the Skrillex Scatta edit I made, monthly presets, a lot of content from YouTube where you can download all the resources mentioned. Work has been a little too much recently, so there's no issues or drama or anything. Content is going to be supplied to you soon. I also dabble in a little bit of ghost production, so some clients just randomly pop up, so I have to work on that because that takes priority obviously. But yeah, here's a quick little video on To Me. So let's start with the intro and my opinion, because let's work from left to right. So the intro is the beautiful vocals and a trap beat. So let's go over all the details. Flute loop with and without the effects. Sounded cool, but I thought let's just give it some high end with an OTT. A little reverb with vintage verb. And then cutting out all the unnecessary shit that OTT brings up from the sample. By the way, this is a sample from Splice, so you can get it if you want. Then this little atmosphere. Good stuff. The original vocal. My soul is with you, baby. I always come back to you. This was originally a TikTok challenge, which I found, I think at the end of COVID probably. I just found a new vocalist because the original challenge was already released with a house track, so I needed to get some new vocals. But basically this was the original. My soul is with you, baby. I always come back to you. But then we ended up using obviously the legal version. Okay, so for the vocals, I wanna get away, yeah. This audio channel was replaced like 4 times, so that's why I have a lot of like bullshit effects on it. For example, the -20 utility doesn't make any sense. But we have this EQ to cut out the lows basically, because I'm gonna compress it afterwards, and you know, I just want to avoid some glitches and whatnot. Then we use this auto-tune because for me this is the easiest one to use. So 2 to 3 clicks and you're done. Then we use the trusty old fuse compressor, which is a similar plugin to the stock multiband dynamics plugin in Ableton. The only difference is it's coded much better, so the phase correlation between bands is much nicer. The compression is more precise. However, I mostly use presets because the built-in presets are actually useful. Then I use this super cool plugin called Gain Reduction Deluxe from Joy Sturgis. It's an actual super hard compressor for vocals and for basses as well. I really like using it because it's such an aggressive plugin. I usually have the mix down to about 40, but in this case it worked out pretty well because the utility at -20 was already making it way quieter than it should be. I wanna get away, yeah. After this we obviously need some EQ because the bass recording was a little too muffled. I wanna get away, yeah. Then another fuse compressor with a different setting. I wanna get away, yeah. And I use a lot of compressors just because the mix itself is so loud. The beat behind it is so loud that in order to retain the understandability of the vocal, you need to make it squashed, because that's just how it is. If you don't want the vocal to get lost, you have to compress it a lot, so all the sibilances and all the formants can shine through the mix. Basically, you can do this with easy leveling as well, but you need stable volume for all the elements, in my opinion. At least that's what I found to be the most reliable and easy to use method. So I'm just compressing.
I wanna get away, yeah. I wanna get away, yeah. I don't wanna lie to you.
For the 808s, I use this plugin from Ramzoid. It's called the 808 Cooker. It's basically a sampler where you can use a bunch of EQ, distortion, ADSR curves, and it's pretty neat. I like it a lot. It's probably an outdated version because I never updated it, in my opinion. I don't recall updating it ever. I think it's like $40 and it's pretty chill, pretty clean. This is one of the stock presets. All I did was decrease the release because the releases on stock is a little too high for me. Yep, and then rest is just white noise, exhausts. So let's get to the drop. The main idea and the main thing about this is you have to treat the vocals as a bass instrument. So therefore you need a lot of aggressive processing to make it sound like a bass. In this case, I wanted to make something, you know, like a machine gun style track. So that's why I did chop it up and made it percussive. So without any effects, it sounds like this. And I can show you what the effects do in a second. So first off, we have the auto-tune plugin, just so when I play around with the pitches on the sample itself, it stays correctly in key. Then we have a shifter. This, I believe, turns on at some point here, just to introduce some dissonance and some variation. But the base of the sound is the vocal. OTT, making it mono. Then making it artificially stereo with a rack, which is going to be downloadable if you subscribe to Patreon. Makes it stereo without compromising mono compatibility, so that's huge. Then a vintage verb. Then EQing out the low end that the OTT produced. Then clipping it, that's about it. Now I do have a separate kind of machine gun layer, but I think this is the same vocal. Yes. So obviously, because this is not a recognizable part, this is still from the original. We made it completely different, so there's no point in changing it. So same process, apart from a couple of distortion, noise, all pass filtering, and a bunch of that yet again to make it sound like a gun. Made it super transient heavy, so that's kind of acting as a transient for the main vocal bit. And then crazy simple thing again, here you can find a sub bass layer which is used to distort everything. It should sound like this. On this group 45, I have a clipper on the softest setting, so that means the lower volume signal is still going to be distorted. It distorts sooner compared to having it on hard clip, because hard clip only distorts when you pass 0. This kind of applies a curve to that, so the distortion is going to appear less harsh because it will contain less high end frequencies, but it's going to distort sooner. So instead of this, it will make it sound like this. The difference is not that noticeable because the soft sine saturation, either way there's going to be a lot of harmonics, but the soft sine saturator got added later, so this was kind of the philosophy behind the whole track. And then I played around with the vocals, so for example this, you know, just random pitch downs inside here, transposition, just playing around with these help a lot. Nothing too fancy if I'm being honest. Obviously there are some glitches and drum fills. Damn, that's loud as hell. A big downside to working with a saturator on the whole drop group is when you don't have a sub bass playing in the background, everything else is gonna be distorted as hell, like super harsh distortion. So another cool trick I usually do in drops like this is that I have a reverb filler, like a reverb throw kind of deal, but instead of having it short and come up between basses, it actually like helps transition between sections. So I have it enabled here at every 8 bars, at the end of every 8 bars. If I solo the track, it's basically just a minute-long reverb, which is automated to come in at the end of every phrase. Cannot speak today. So if I do this, it should come up like that. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this project up so y'all can, learn from it and use it. And if you want to download the project, Patreon is the way to go. Thank you all for sticking around, and make sure to drop a like and share this video around if any of your friends might be interested. Thanks again for everyone for the huge support on YouTube and Patreon. Videos are going to be supplied, I promise. I'm just a little too busy at the end of the year. That's about it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to check out my website for a lot of high quality Serum and Vital presets and drum samples. You can also support me on Patreon, where I upload bass music specific tutorial content every single month. Peace.